Just because somebody is born different, it doesn't mean they can't be as determined as anyone else. Some people overcome amazing odds to live a full life, that they are quite simply unbelievable. When they're born, it looks like they will really struggle through life. Yet instead of limiting them, this quality provides them with the inspiration to succeed. Here are 10 stories of truly unbelievable people. 1. Yono Lancaster. Yono was born 34 years ago in England under very sad circumstances. His parents rejected him based on his appearance, and he was put up for adoption. He has Treacher-Collins syndrome, which means the bones and tissues in his face haven't developed in the usual way. In addition to having no cheekbones, he also has difficulty with his hearing. Thankfully, he was adopted by a loving foster mother. However, Yono's life in Yorkshire was still challenging. At school, he was cruelly ridiculed by his classmates, and he wound up in a bad place, drinking and behaving badly. Not wanting to upset his mother, he kept his feelings to himself. A turning point for Yono was when he got offered a job at a local bar. Gaining some confidence, he studied sports science and began working in a gym. He found love and now enjoys his work as a teacher, team leader, and promoter of good causes. He founded the Love Me, Love My Face Foundation, which raises awareness of Treacher-Collins syndrome. His positive outlook is an inspiration given his unbelievable start in life. 2. Madan Lal. Madan works in the North Indian state of Haryana. He is middle-aged and has spent over 20 years as a tailor, making suits and dresses for his fellow villagers. There's one big difference between him and other tailors though. Madan was born without arms. With teachers refusing to have him in their schools and a lack of help from the government, he decided to use his initiative and learn a trade. When he told people he wanted to be a tailor, they laughed at him. He searched far and wide for a tailor to take him in and train him, and eventually he found one. It wasn't long before any doubts were forgotten, with Madan clearly being a natural for the role. Returning home, he faced skepticism when he set up shop. Now he is relied upon to create the villagers' clothes. He does everything with his feet, from measuring to stitching. When he isn't tailoring, he smokes and even shaves with his feet. From unbelievable beginnings, Madan has made a good life for himself, and his progress and determination to succeed are nothing less than awe-inspiring. 3. Colton Southern. Last year, 8-year-old Colton had an operation that made him smile. This was highly unusual for him because up to that point, he literally hadn't been able to smile. The reason for this was Mobius syndrome, which causes facial muscles to be weak or even paralyzed. People with Mobius syndrome are just like everyone else inside themselves, but not having facial movement is a big obstacle to communicating with others. Without being able to express himself through his face, Colton worried his family. They had little idea how he was feeling. Colton decided to have facial reanimation surgery, as he wanted to smile like his brothers. The microsurgeons at Duke Children's Hospital in North Carolina took an unnecessary muscle from Colton's thigh and inserted it into one side of his face. The boy realized he was finally able to smile, though he had to wait a year before the procedure was repeated on the other side. Colton impressed doctors with his fast recovery rate, showing he could use his face effectively after only a few weeks. His bravery undergoing the knife has been celebrated not just by his family, but the world. 4. Donato Giannotto. Middle-aged New Yorker Donato was having a dinner a few years ago when he showed signs of being drunk. Problem was, he hadn't been drinking. When doctors investigated, they found something extraordinary. Donato hadn't been consuming booze, but he had been brewing it inside his body. When he eats carbohydrates such as bread, the excessive yeast in his stomach converts them into ethanol. The condition is very rare and known as autobrewery syndrome. It affects a tiny fraction of the population with less than 100 cases globally. Sufferers can be accused of drunk driving when they are in fact totally innocent. Why does he have so much yeast in his system? The surprising answer is antibiotics. Donato has difficulty getting well because the antibiotics that are supposed to be curing him allow yeast to flourish in his gut. The carbs can boost his blood alcohol level to twice the legal limit. Donato's case became groundbreaking as his family managed to get a noted gastroenterologist to look into the situation. He tested the yeast in Donato's stomach and a course of treatment was found to combat it. Though, sadly, Donato will never be cured. He certainly feels like himself though. 5. Chen Tuanji. In 2005, Chen from Southeast China underwent a series of painful operations. These involved breaking the bones in her legs, but she was determined to see things through to the end. Why was she having these surgeries? Because she suffers from an ultra-rare condition called congenital genu recurvatum disease, which made her legs bend the wrong way. It's also referred to as backward bending knee. The disease meant she could not walk, sit, or lie down straight. She had to pull herself along with her hands as her family lacked the income to pay for operations, and she was dubbed the crawling girl. However, when the media featured her story, enough interest was generated to pay for treatment through charities. Chen, who was in her mid-20s at the time, traveled to Taiwan, where she had 7 operations over 10 months. At the end of it, she was not only able to do things she'd only dreamt of before, but she was also 30 centimeters taller than when she went in. Her unbelievable triumph against the odds combined with her positive attitude to life is very inspirational. 6. Lizzie Velasquez. Lizzie has a rare condition which results in her being extremely skinny. In fact, she is not only skinny, but her body has 0% fat. She only weighs 64 pounds. This is due to Marfanoid progeroid lipodystrophy syndrome. This syndrome covers a range of symptoms, but everyone with the condition has a noticeable lack of lean tissue mass. Lizzie was the subject of cruel bullying, yet she decided to push against this pressure and work hard to achieve her goals. She wanted to bring her story to the wider public and talk about her struggles to inspire others. The American public has taken to Lizzie, who has become a famous motivational speaker and author of 3 books. Lizzie had a documentary made about her in 2015. Take into account all of her achievements, and it's clear she is a force to be reckoned with. And she's not long turned 30. 7. Nadezhda Lebedina. Following a nasty argument with her husband in 1954, Ukrainian woman Nadezhda went into a deep sleep. She was very upset before going to sleep and was probably tired from the confrontation. However, after a long time, she hadn't woken up. Her concerned family took her to see the doctor, and she was examined by professionals. Because of a historic case where a patient with schizophrenia went to sleep for a long period, it was thought maybe Nadezhda had the same condition. Time passed and she had to be fed via a pump, though readings showed her health was good throughout her long sleep. Amazingly, it would be 1974 by the time a confused Nadezhda finally regained consciousness. She missed her daughter growing into an adult. A really surprising thing about the case was she stayed young-looking throughout the sleep. Then, when she awoke, her appearance rapidly aged. Doctors were also intrigued by the fact she didn't develop bed sores. It was as if she'd been placed in a time capsule like Sleeping Beauty. After a couple of weeks, Nadezhda adjusted to the new situation and carried on living her life. Even so, a sense of mystery hangs over this unbelievable case. What exactly was behind the loss of those 2 crucial decades? 8. Dong Jiajun. Chinese man Dong Jiajun is only 2 feet 6 inches in height. The reason for this is he was born with congenital rickets that limited his bone growth. He spent his childhood and teenage years bedridden, with his parents looking after him. People may think Dong wouldn't have been able to lead a normal life, but he has gone on to prove them seriously wrong. Sadly, Dong's father passed away in 2003, and with his mother experiencing health problems, he decided to bite the bullet and start caring for himself. The internet played a big role in this. After being given a computer, he went into business for himself, creating websites and an online store among other projects. He was then able to walk with the help of crutches, and a wheelchair gets him from A to B sometimes. In 2009, Dong was checking out an employment site for disabled people when he began communicating with Yuan Wan Yu. Like him, she was in her 20s and had also struggled in life. She'd suffered severe burns as an infant, which left her disfigured. She doesn't have a nose and has no fingers on her left hand. The pair hit it off and are now in a long-term loving relationship. 9. Fields twins. Identical twins Christy and Catherine from South Wales are like regular women in many ways. They like to talk and share a deep connection with each other. Yet they are also world famous for having a unique medical illness. It is so unusual that it's named after them, Fields condition. Their muscles are racked with around 100 involuntary spasms per day, which makes normal life very difficult. They both travel in wheelchairs and tragically lost their ability to speak when they were teenagers. There is no cure, and they have had to adjust to the pain. However, in 2012, some relief was provided when they were given electronic speech machines for their 18th birthdays. And they chose an interesting way of letting people know which identical twin was which. While both women are Welsh, Christy decided to use an Australian accent, and Catherine opted for an American-speaking voice. The twins are known for their good sense of humor and upbeat approach to life. They believe that because time is limited, you shouldn't let things get you down. 10. Ashlyn Blocker. Georgia teenager Ashlyn Blocker might be considered a superhero in some parts. This is because she does not feel pain. But unlike a comic book character, Ashlyn experiences serious difficulty in her day-to-day life. The name of her condition is congenital insensitivity to pain, and it has led to incidents where she has been in mortal danger. She was profiled by the New York Times in 2012, who heard about accidents such as the time she burned the skin off her hands. To her parents' horror, she managed to touch the muffler on a scalding hot pressure washer motor. The important thing to realize is that pain is an important warning sign that something is wrong. Ashlyn may not experience the burning or breaking sensation, but in a way that makes things worse. She could seriously injure herself and not be aware of it. Perhaps most shockingly of all, she broke her ankle and didn't even realize. The break only became apparent to those around her after 2 days. Nowadays, Ashlyn is heading toward adulthood and looking out for herself. She regularly posts on Instagram and seems to have a healthy and happy life. Unbelievable and inspirational. That concludes our list of 10 unbelievable people in the world. What did you think? Which person do you think was the most interesting? Let us know in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And click on the notification bell for a chance to be the first one notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.